Hello everyone, we are Group 8. Today we are going to share this research, comparing rating models, analyzing live audio and video ratings of IELTS speaking test performance for you. We divided our presentation into 9 parts, and here is our outline. First, let's look at the first part of our presentation, the research background. I think the research background is mainly divided into the following 2 parts: several different ways of speaking evaluation and technological development. The methods of speaking evaluation are mainly divided into single evaluation and double evaluation. In these two forms, a single scoring method means that only one examiner scores the speaking test, or only one system, such as a computer, is used to score the performance of the speaking test taker. The double scoring system includes 3 scoring methods. The first is that there are 2 examiners on site. One is responsible for dialogue with the examinees and scoring the examinees, and the other will use the analysis skill to observe and evaluate the examinee's performance. The second is called part rating. In this method, requires video or voice recording of the examinee's speaking performance, and then divide the recorded content into different parts, and give different parts to different examiners for scoring. The third is to ask one examiner to score on the spot, and the other examiner will score the candidates according to the record of the first examiner after the examination. For example, the BULATS and the TEAP. These are 2 speaking tests used for scoring methods. In terms of science and technology, with the development of science and technology, the ways of transmitting and collecting speaking recordings and videos are gradually increasing. A variety of transmission modes have a very important impact on different forms of speaking evaluation. The increase of styles will increase the difficulty of selecting evaluation tools. In addition, with the development of science and technology, the way of recording and transmitting video will become more and more convenient, which will directly affect the standard of scoring and uploading. Due to the change of the standard, the judgment of scoring will also be affected. In the face of diversified transmission and collection methods, evaluators need to make the most rational and correct decisions. After understanding the background of the research, let's take a look at the purpose of the research. For this study, the author mainly put towards 3 questions. First, whether there are differences in the scores of examinees under 3 different scoring conditions: on-site scoring, audio scoring, and video scoring. Second, under 3 different scoring standards of on-site audio and video, to what extent will the examiner pay attention to the candidate's positive and negative performance? Third, what do the examiners think of the examinee's performance under 2 different scoring conditions of audio and video? The purpose of this study is to find the answers to these 3 questions. So why did the author raise these research questions? I think there are 2 main reasons. First, basically all speaking tests will be recorded. With the development of technology, there is a great possibility of double scoring in the future. Therefore, it is very important to understand the cognition of raters under different rating conditions. People's perception of language samples and video samples is different. Different evaluation materials will affect the audience's attention to audio or video content. For example, the video will contain the tester's facial expression and body language, which will distract the readers and make their focus not only focus on the content of the reader's speech, but also focus on the other more factors. Therefore, the author wants to know to what extent this different sample information will affect the reader, and the results of this study will also directly affect the reader's choice of the test methods. The second reason is that there is little research on the impact of different evaluation methods on readers. The research on this part can fill the content of the relevant research. Next, let's look at the research methods. Taking the speaking test of IELTS as an example, the author studies the records of different scholars in the speaking test of IELTS. In this part, I will introduce the research methods from three steps. First, let's look at the participants of the research. In this study, the researchers selected 33 candidates with IELTS or speaking scores of 3 points to 8 points to participate in this study. These participants studied in the same university in UK. Among the 33 participants, 17 boys and 19 girls with an average age of about 20, and their time in the UK ranged from a month to a year. 6 professional IELTS examiners will rate the performance of these 33 candidates in 3 different test methods: on-site, audio, and video. The way of rating is shown in Table 1. After knowing the test participants, let's take a look at how the research is carried out. First of all, this study selected 2 test questions in the IELTS speaking test, which are about interest and party topics respectively. Then 33 candidates will take part in the IELTS speaking test conducted by examiners A, B, and C, respectively. Randomly select one of the 2 topics to answer, and then the examiners will score the second and third parts of the speaking text. Because the first part is regarded as a warm-up link, it is not included in the content of the study. During the test, all the candidates' answers will be recorded as audio and video. It is worth noticing that this video and audio will be edited to distinguish the performance of the candidates in the second part and the first part. This audio and video were viewed and rated by 6 examiners A to F. Third, ways to score. There are 2 main ways to score. The first is in writing. All examiners need to complete a note on why they scored such a score for students' performance, and then collect and summarize the examiner's notes. The second is oral form. Oral report. 4 students with IELTS scores of 4 point, 5 point, 6 point, and 7 point are tested by examiners A, D, E, and F. When they score, they need to follow the following 2 stages. First, the examiner needs to listen to the video or voice sample repeatedly and give the score and oral evaluation of the examiner's performance. Then the examiner needs to listen to the video or audio content again, pause in any permanent place, and make oral evaluation of the examiner's outstanding performance according to the scoring standard. During the oral evaluation by the examiner, 2 researchers will preside over and record it.
Thank you, Jiaqing. I will present the next 2 sections. In the next section, I will first present you the analysis of the research method. All test score was collaborated with the MFRM model, which is an abbreviation of Many-Faceted Research Model. And there are 2 sets of them. First one is Rating Scale Model Analysis, which contains 6 facets. Now you can see each facet in the PowerPoint, and all facets were modeled by standard MFRM equation as an overview of the test score. Now with the help of the bias or interaction analysis, the pairwise comparison has completed. There are 1,396 written comments, which provided by examiners on 3 written conditions, and the written commentaries on each of the 4 analytical criteria were then encoded according to the positive or negative, of either both positive or negative features. And there are some examples of them you can see in the slide. There is negative features, positive and negative features. Well, there are some comments could not be classified in terms of their positivity, like the example I show it here. So it become the unclassified comments. They will be coded and treated as missing data. The coding process needs 2 researchers to work together. When one is finished, Their cases, and other researchers need to check their accuracy and the coding and discuss a few ambiguous cases, especially with these unclassified cases. When some disagreement occurred, two researchers will discuss it and agree finally on a relevant coding decision. For the verbal report recording, the examiners will use their rating behaviors and their precision toward test takers' performance, and they will be transcribed. Two researchers will facilitate verbal report sections, and four examiners will take detailed observational notes during the verbal report sections and record the examiner's comments. It is necessary to use them to identify relevant parts to transcript. Now let's move to the research result and discussion sections. Well, first is the rating score analysis, which was based on research question 1. Please look at table 2 in the slide with a summary of descriptive statistics of the score awarded for the 3 rating conditions, live, audio, and video. You can see that the mean score of the live and video rating were over Brand 5, while only the audio rating were under Brand 5. Now you can see two pictures, one is figure 2, another one is table 3. These two pictures provide us an overview of the research result of the 6 facets analysis. You can see in figure 2 the column named Mode. The audio rating were higher than both live and video rating, and in table 3 all 6 facets were examined for data model fits, which confirm that in-fit and out-fit in square values of all elements included in 6 facets deal with the productive for measurement. For the figure 3, it shows category probability curves, which illustrating how examiner applies the IELTS brand categories. And across all these 4 athletic criteria, every peak that points red in the figure are not over or underused. Now we can focus on table 4. In this table, we can clearly see that when compared with live and video, the audio rating model is much more difficult, while the live and video rating models share very similar difficulty levels. In table 5, we can see that test takers receive substantially lower score in audio rating mode than the live rating mode with a medium effect size for lexis, fluency, and grammar. Apart from that, effect size for pronunciation is smaller than modes I mentioned above. Figure 4 is a researcher used to illustrate the degree of positivity in examiner's comments. You can see I've pinned out the red one, which is examiner A and B, and other examiners. There have some substantial differences. The last table 6, the live rating mode had more positive comments than other 2 rating modes, you can see from the figure. And the fair average score ranged from 1.69 to 2.07. The verbal report analysis is divided into 4 parts. For the first part, comments provided by the examiners mentioned that with the help of video, you can better understand test takers say what they want to say during the test. Something like their lips movements, some gestures, something like that really helps them when they produce their comments. For the second part, with the possible differences maybe especially for the examiners that in fluency and pronunciation, which is the possible differences in the final score. The third part is mainly about the examiner talk about the test takers use video can provide them some visual signal when they are paused or stop speaking, so examiner can notice that the facial expressions show that the test taker are actually thinking but not hesitate. And the final part, it do have some differences between different examiners, and they surely have some preference when they are using the 2 modes. In the discussion sections, data analysts for research questions 1, 2, 3 are all listed here, and the answers are summarized. You can look some keywords in the discussion sections, and the rest of the sections will be presented by my teammate Jiaqing again. Please welcome Jiaqing.
Next, I will summarize this study. Through this study, we can get the following enlightenment. First, the way of using video for speaking test is very similar to that of on-site and face-to-face speaking test. Both methods will transmit visual information, which is helpful for the interaction between examiners and the candidates. Therefore, the linguistic features of non-verbal forms are also very important and should be considered and added to the scope of language ability assessment. The second point is to avoid using the form of audio recording to score and candidates' language ability as much as possible, because in the audio scoring model, the reader is difficult to distinguish the relationship between the candidates and the examiner and the dialogue situation, which makes the scoring structure lack of accuracy. This study also have some limitation. Taking else as an example, the content of the study is lack of universality, because such speaking test scoring standard is not universal, and other all speaking tests have different methods. It is suggested that this study can choose two ways of speaking test. Finally, let's look at the critical. This study shows us three different scoring models and proves that video and on-site speaking evaluation are very helpful for examiners to score speaking ability, under the background that most speaking score systems use double scoring system. This study provides guiding opinions for the sample technology of video and audio recording in the future, and also explains the importance of visualization for the examiner scoring, which is helpful to improve the scoring standards of the speaking text. Here is our discussion question. What are the differences between the face-to-face IELTS speaking test and the computer-based IELTS speaking test with audio or video recording? Thank you for watching.